What's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning in to the BS Show. Brett here, and I want to talk about some comments that Dominick Cruz made against the referee Keith Peterson in his fight against Henry Cejudo. As we all know, Henry Cejudo landed a huge shot, knocked Cruz down, and then began to pound on his face. Keith Peterson then stopped the fight, and Cruz was visibly upset. He thought maybe it should have went a little bit longer, and that is up to debate. As I watched it in live motion, I thought maybe it was a quick stoppage to a point. But then again, whenever they replayed it and slowed it down, I didn't realize how many shots Cejudo was landing over and over and over again. I believe at one point someone counted like 12 shots or something. I'd have to go back and look, but I wasn't too terribly upset with the stoppage. I mean, you could probably make an argument that it was a little bit premature, especially with it being a title fight, especially with it being Dominick Cruz, which a lot of people have as the bantamweight GOAT. Maybe let it go a little bit longer, but I'm not going to get too far into that. But the comments that Dominick Cruz made about Keith Peterson was that he smelled like cigarettes and booze. So he's making a very, very bold statement at Keith Peterson, the referee, and questioning his integrity, and he's saying that he smells like booze and cigarettes. Number one, no one else had said anything. And I listened to a podcast, and they made a really good point on there. They said, out of all the other people that Keith Peterson came into contact with, number one, how come none of the other fighters or anybody else that came in contact with him said anything? Number two, the other referees, if they smelt booze or cigarettes on Keith Peterson, they should be the extremely first people to say anything. They should be stopping that, saying, wait a minute here, Dana, or wait a minute here, Commission. This referee is not good to go. It's dangerous for him and for the fighters. Let's stop this. So now you're calling the integrity of Keith Peterson, anybody else in backstage, and then all the referees that he's in contact with. You're saying that all of them pretty much slid this under the rug. So it makes you question, why would Dominick Cruz say something like this? Why would Dominick Cruz say that Keith Peterson smelt like booze and alcohol? Well, he's bitter. He's bitter, and this is coming from a Dominick Cruz fan. I loved his footwork. He was literally the GOAT in the bantamweight division forever. He had a bunch of layoffs. He came back after 2 or 3 years and fought Henry Cejudo, which you could now make an argument that he's a GOAT. He got beat. He took a huge knee, got dropped, and Cejudo landed a bunch of shots. The ref called it. Fighters always want it to go longer. That is one thing that fighters need to understand. You're always going to want it to go longer. Even when guys get knocked out, you see them stand up and say, "What? I was fine." The referee is there to protect the fighter, and that's what Keith Peterson did. Dominick Cruz, although he was trying to get to his feet, I will give him that, and although it was the very, very end of the round, Keith Peterson probably could have let it go a little bit longer, let the round end, let him get his 1 minute wind, come back, and see what happens. I agree with all that, but it's his job to protect the fighter, and he felt that it was necessary, so he stopped it. But for Dominick Cruz to make extremely bold accusations when there's not any proof, I don't know what to think about that. And Cruz also said that his teammate at Alliance, Jeremy Stevens, who also fought on that card, he said that he had to carry Keith Peterson up a flight of stairs before because he was so hammered. Now, everything that I've read and all the research that I've done, I don't show any evidence that that's true. I've actually heard that Peterson doesn't even drink. There's never been any other accusations from any fighters from what I know or any other referees. So this is kind of just coming out of left field. So one has to assume that Cruz is very unhappy with the stoppage and he's trying to play the blame game now. Well, I didn't lose because of me. I lost because of you. And that's very sad because Cruz is as sharp as a whip. He's a great commentator. He's a great fighter. He's one of the bantamweight GOATs, if not the bantamweight GOAT. He paved the way for these bantamweight fighters, and now he's going to go out and do that. That's kind of my thoughts on it. I don't think it's really a good idea when you lose and you start playing the blame game. That's how I've always been. Accept your loss and move forward. Or say, hey, Cejudo, let's run it back and see what he says. So let me know in the comments below what you think of those accusations. Let me know what you thought of that fight. I watched it with Steven. We thought it was a great fight card. We're happy the UFC's back. Thank you for tuning in, and take care.